Hi everybody. Today we are going to look at argumentative essay, and what we are going to do is we're going to understand what is argumentative essay all about. So, what is an argumentative essay? In an argumentative essay, the author tries to take up a position and tries to convince other that what position that he or she has taken is the right position. So in an argumentative essay, the author is basically trying to convince his or her reader so about a standpoint of his. So when you are writing an argumentative essay, couple of things very important before you write, but it is very important to understand what's an argumentative essay. So argumentative essay is an essay where the writer takes a position on an issue and presents the argument in an attempt to convince the reader that the position is acceptable. In order to persuade the reader successfully, the writer's argument needs to be presented logically. That is, the writer's ideas should be supported by reasoned explanations and authoritative evidence such as factual examples and statistics. So the essay also needs to include something called as counter-arguments, and these are objection to the writer's argument, and also the essay should consist of something called as rebuttals, that is rejection of counter-arguments. Now let me explain to you. Suppose you are writing argumentative essay. What you need to do is you need to have all these things in place. I mean, you need to see that the writer needs to establish first and foremost a position. So if you see, let me, yeah, where is it? I'm just trying to get a highlighter so that I explain to you. Okay, let it be. Okay, so first and foremost, before you write an argumentative essay, the writer needs to establish a position. Let's say my topic is on demonetization of 500 rupees note in India, and so I can take two positions over here. I can either say this was a good idea of demonetization, or I can say it was a very bad administrative idea. Suppose I say it's a good idea, so I have established a position now. Now the next thing I need to do is I need to support this position. So I need to tell why it is a good idea, why demonetization of 500 rupees note was a good idea, and I need to support by giving evidence to it, by giving statistics and research material to it, and support my position. Now then I need to consider counter arguments. So I need to understand what other people are saying who are against demonetization. So I need to consider that. So I need to consider people out there who are saying demonetization is bad. Why it is bad, and their statements are considered as counter arguments. And I need to prepare for rebuttals. That means when I consider the counter arguments of people. When I hear people saying demonetization is bad, I need to answer those counter arguments and say no, and I need to reply to those counter arguments and reject those counter arguments by giving my points and proving them wrong. So that's called rebuttal. Okay, so then I need to write the essay outline. I need to before I write my argumentative essay, I need to make an outline, need to put the framework which I'm going to use, which I'll go to explain in the next slide. Now remember, when you're writing a counter argument, this is very, very important. There are three main components for counter arguments. First is writer's argument, second is counter argument, and third is writer's rebuttal. So three components for an argumentative essay: writer's argument, counter argument, and writer's rebuttal. What is writer's argument? Writer's argument is the position the writer takes, whose side he takes. Is demonetization good or is demonetization bad? So the position that the writer takes becomes the writer's argument. Now look here, there is an example of a scenario, and here the writer is saying this is his position and this is his argument, that students should study Chinese because China is growing rapidly and will soon be a global superpower. Now there is somebody who is objecting the writer's argument, and that is called as counter argument. This number 2. And the counter argument says it is more important for students to study English so that they can communicate with the whole world. So here you say there is an argument which says, that is writer's argument, which says students should study Chinese. There is a counter argument that is somebody else saying that students should study English. And then there is a writer's rebuttal. Now what is rebuttal? The rebuttal is rejecting the counter argument, rejecting the opposing statement that is made against your argument. So here the writer's rebuttal is, because of Japan's close geographical, political and economic ties to China, it is essential for students to study Chinese rather than any other language. Okay, so that was it. We've understood what is argument, counter argument and rebuttal. Three main components of an argumentative essay. Please remember this and do not forget it. Now let's move ahead. When you are writing an argumentative essay, you can follow two types of frameworks. Let's put them into framework A and framework B. Now framework A, always remember, when I'm talking about essay, I'll be talking about 5-paragraph essay only. Now see, imagine there's a 5-paragraph essay, and the first paragraph of the essay is always the introduction, and the last paragraph of the essay is the conclusion. There is a spelling mistake here, please forgive me for that, but these are the two things that are there in a 5-paragraph essay. The middle paragraphs are called as body paragraphs. So we have body paragraph 1 here, body paragraph 2, body paragraph 3. Now in framework A, that is the first framework that we're going to look at, what do we do? In the body paragraph 1, we are going to write the argument 1, and that argument 1 is going to be our topic sentence. and then we are going to develop that argument 1 by giving supporting sentences or supporting points to that argument 1, and that's going to be our paragraph 1. Whereas in paragraph 2 we are going to follow the same steps, but we are going to write argument 2, that's the topic sentence 2, and we are going to support it with our supporting statements in the second paragraph, in the second body paragraph. And the third paragraph is what we are going to do is counter arguments and rebuttals. In the third paragraph, please note there is no argument of the writer, rather there will be counter arguments and rebuttals. So in this body paragraph 3, you're basically going to speak about other people who have spoken against your points, and then try to reject and object the other people's point. These are other people's counter arguments. That's framework A. Let's move on to framework B. And in framework B, again, it's 5 paragraph essay. First paragraph is introduction, last paragraph is conclusion. Again, forgive me for this spelling mistake here, but the body paragraphs, there will be a slight change. In body paragraph 1, we are having argument 1. We are also going to have counter argument 1, and we are going to have a rebuttal to counter argument 1. That's what we are going to do in body paragraph 1. So remember, argument 1, counter argument 1, and then rebuttal to the counter argument 1. In body paragraph 2, what we are going to do is we are going to have the argument 2, counter argument of the argument 2, and then we are going to have rebuttal for the counter argument 2. Yes, we are going to have the rebuttal to the counter argument 2. And the last thing is we are going to have body paragraph 3, and in this we are going to have argument 3. Sorry, I have written 2 here, but it's argument 3. We are going to have counter argument 3, and we are going to have rebuttal to the counter argument 3. So what's the difference between framework A and framework B? In framework A, the third paragraph, the first 2 paragraphs consist only of arguments, whereas in framework B, the first 2 body paragraphs will contain argument, counter argument, and rebuttal. I mean, all the 3 paragraphs will have this thing. In framework A, the third body paragraph has only counter arguments and rebuttals, whereas in framework B, the third paragraph, like the previous paragraph, have argument, counter argument, and rebuttal 3. So that's how 2 frameworks. You need to look at this framework and structure or organize your argumentative essay. Let's move on to the next thing, strong rebuttals. How to have strong rebuttals? Always remember to have a strong rebuttal. Focus directly on one counter argument and present in logical way, logical refutation of that counter argument. Okay, let's move on. Remember, in an argumentative essay, 3 things when you are writing an argumentative essay. First is, always use phrases to introduce an argument. Second is, use transitional expressions. Third is, support from outside sources. I repeat, phrases to introduce an argument, transitional expressions, support from outside sources. These are very, very important things when you're writing argumentative essay. I'll explain to you one by one. Let's look at first thing, phrases to introduce an argument. In phrases to introduce an argument, if you see on the screen here, you can use these phrases to introduce your arguments. Like you can say, it is clear that, it can be argued, demonstrated, clearly seen, it can be clearly seen, it can be demonstrated that so and so thing, it seems like that so and so thing. So use phrases to introduce an argument. Here are some examples here, and in the example you can see, it is clear that, this is the introducing phrase. A language cannot be acquired without using it. So all in red are introducing phrases. And the next sentence example here, it can be argued that there is no sharp distinction between tutored learning and untutored learning. It seems likely that a third language is easier to learn after mastering a second language. Okay, let's move on to the next phrases to introduce your argument. You can also use, there is little or no doubt that so and so thing, there is little question or there is question that so and so thing, there is evidence to demonstrate that, there is evidence to indicate that so and so thing, there is evidence to suggest that, there is great deal of research which demonstrates that so and so thing, or indicates or suggests that. So these are the phrases you need to use before you put your argument across to the reader. And the next thing, before you give your argument, before you put your introducing phrases, you need to use the second thing, most important thing in an argumentative essay, is transitional expressions. Now, always when you put forth your arguments in a logical way, you need to use this transitional expression. For example, you need to say, to list ideas, firstly, secondly, first of all, finally. Then to add an idea, you can say also, moreover, furthermore, in addition. To introduce a contrasting idea, however, in contrast, on the other hand, in spite of, although. To show an example, you can start off by saying, for example, for instance. To state an effect or result, you can say, therefore, accordingly, or consequently, as a result, due to, because of. All this. To give an alternative consequence, you can say, otherwise. To restate an idea given in the previous sentence, you can say, in other words. So, you should use transitional expressions, then use the phrases to introduce your argument, and then you can use the argument, put down your argument. And the next important thing, always support your arguments, support your rebuttals with evidence. And what kind of evidence? Authoritative opinions, like people who are in authority have given their opinions. Put them after you write your argument. For example, if I say demonetization is good, I will say the chief officer of Reserve Bank of India said that it will help in curbing the corruption issue in India. So it's an authoritative opinion. Please forgive me for the spelling mistake again here. I've written auto-reactive, sorry for that. It's authoritative opinion. Second is specific examples. So you can give specific examples, like if I say demonetization is good because recently lot of black money has been caught, and people have been caught with lot of black money, and the money has been taken up by the government. So if you say that, it becomes a specific examples. Statistical evidence is very important also. So you give statistics, you give surveys, you get data collected from surveys to back up your arguments, and when you do that, it leads to a strong argument in your essay. So well, this is all I need to say for this class, for this session on argumentative essay. And please, I want to say, comment in this video, share this video, like this video, and subscribe to this video. How do you subscribe? Take your finger, click, or take your cursor and click the subscribe button here. Click the subscribe button below this channel. There is this red subscribe button. Please click it. If you have liked this video, you like the lecture, you have understood this lecture, click the subscribe button. If you have not liked, you punch that subscribe button, but see that the subscribe button is clicked. Please share, please like, and thank you for listening. Bye.